In a bustling city with a flow of people and lights never ceased, there was a young woman named Lina. In her 20s, she had everything many could only dream of: a prestigious job, a small apartment in the heart of the city, and a schedule packed down to the minute. Yet, deep inside, Lina always felt empty, as if she were running endlessly without knowing where the finish line was. Every morning, she woke up to the sound of her alarm and invisible pressures. Every night, she fell asleep with a sense of exhaustion and meaninglessness. Everything around her moved like a machine, fast, loud, and leaving nothing behind but fatigue. Until one day, when she happened to stop in front of an old art gallery, her eyes landed on a painting of a peaceful forest. Beneath it were the simple words, "Seek stillness within, and you will understand what truly matters." Those words, seemingly simple, slipped quietly into her mind like a gentle breeze. And from that moment on, a journey began, a journey to rediscover herself and find peace. Lina was a young, ambitious woman, always setting high goals and pushing herself to rise above in the heart of a modern city. Graduating with top honors from a prestigious university, she quickly landed her dream job at a major corporation. Her life was surrounded by meetings, relentless emails, and never-ending plans. To many, that was the definition of success. But to Lina, everything felt like a mechanical cycle, emotionless and monotonous. She began to realize she was living like a shadow, always busy, yet unsure what it was all for. Her mornings passed with rushed cups of coffee and endless to-do lists. At night, she returned to her small apartment, looking out at a city glowing with lights, yet feeling utterly alone and adrift. Even with everything she had, Lina still felt something was missing, something she couldn't quite name. She often asked herself, is this really all I'm living for? Success, money, but then what? The exhaustion, both physical and mental, stirred a longing in her for something simpler, to slow down, to truly breathe. She didn't yet know where that longing would lead her, until the moment she stumbled upon that painting with its strange, stirring message. Lina's gaze lingered on the painting for a long time, a quiet forest veiled in morning mist, with a small stream trickling gently beneath lush green trees. In the corner of the canvas, a line of words was written in soft yet confident strokes. "Seek stillness within, and you will understand what truly matters." For reasons she couldn't explain, Lina's heart skipped a beat. It felt as if the painting was speaking to her, not through color or brushstroke, but in a wordless language, the piece she had long forgotten. In the days that followed, the image of that forest replayed in her mind. In the middle of tense meetings, crowded streets, and the blaring noise of car horns, Lina began to feel as if she were suffocating inside an invisible shell. One evening, after work, she sat alone in her usual cafe, watching people pass by, when a sudden thought rose to the surface. I need to leave, just for a little while. She told no one, posted nothing online. Quietly, Lina requested a week off and began scouring maps. She wanted to go somewhere without internet, without phone signals, without pressure, somewhere far from the city, somewhere she could simply breathe. After a few hours of searching, she stumbled upon an article about a peaceful countryside in the north, where nature remained untouched and few people visited. The piece mentioned an old potter living in seclusion in a small house surrounded by pine trees, known not for his craftsmanship, but for the strange stillness within each piece he created. Lina couldn't quite explain why the story pulled her in, but something deep inside told her this was the place she needed to go. A few days later, she boarded a train, carrying nothing but a small backpack, a few changes of clothes, a blank notebook, and a heart quietly searching for itself. The train rocked gently as it passed through the outskirts, leaving behind the city's noise and lights. The farther it went, the quieter the world became. Spring was arriving. Wildflowers began blooming on the hillsides, and within Lina, something unfamiliar also began to bloom. It wasn't excitement like the trips she'd taken before. It was a soft, quiet peace like she wasn't leaving, but returning. Lina didn't know what awaited her ahead, but for the first time in a very long while, she didn't need to. All she wanted was to listen to the silence and to herself. Lina arrived in the late afternoon. The small village nestled quietly along the hillside, so still she could hear the wind rustling through bamboo branches and the soft gurgle of a stream not far away. The innkeeper, a kind elderly woman, pointed toward a narrow dirt path leading into the pine forest and said, "You're looking for the old potter, aren't you? Just follow that trail. He lives alone, but anyone who needs him always finds their way." After more than half an hour walking through the woods, Lina came upon a modest wooden house surrounded by trees. A thin column of smoke rose gently from an old chimney. On the front porch, an elderly man with silver hair and a long beard was shaping clay with hands worn by time. He didn't look up, only said in a deep, calm voice, not cold but steady, "You've arrived, haven't you?" Lina was a little surprised, but smiled. "I heard you make beautiful pottery. I'm not sure why I came. I just feel like I need to find something I've lost." The man nodded, his hands never stopping. Clay is like people. If your heart isn't still, no matter how you shape it, it'll always crack. That day, Lina said nothing more. She sat beside him, watching how he worked the clay, gently smoothing the surface, adjusting every detail as though each motion was a quiet conversation with time itself. There were no phone alerts, no city traffic, only the sound of hands pressing earth and the steady rhythm of nature's breath. In that moment, something in Lina began to soften. In the days that followed, the old man let Lina try making a cup of her own. Each morning, they shared simple meals, then she would sit at the wooden table and learn to knead the clay. At first, Lina grew impatient and frustrated when the cup came out crooked, the clay cracked, or the water spilled unevenly. But the old man simply smiled and asked, "Are you shaping the clay or forcing yourself?" The question stopped her cold. She realized she had brought the city's hurried pace with her. Even here, in this quiet place, her hands were making, but her mind was still chasing outcomes. She had never truly been present in anything she did. Day by day, Lina began to change. Her hands slowed. Her movements became more thoughtful, more still. And then one morning, when she lifted her first finished cup, smooth, sturdy, and whole, the old man gave a small nod and said, "Now you've finally started to listen." That evening, Lina sat alone on the porch of the wooden house, holding the first ceramic cup she had ever made with her own hands. Moonlight filtered softly through the pine branches, casting gentle beams of light across the earth. The hum of insects echoed in the night, weaving together a strange harmony, like a lullaby sung by the forest itself. She slowly turned the cup in her hands, feeling each ridge, each tiny imperfection, and suddenly, it struck her as deeply beautiful. It didn't have to be perfect, it just had to be real. And in that moment, she realized the truth wasn't just about the cup. It was about herself. The next morning, as she and the old man laid out newly crafted pieces to dry in the sun, Lina asked gently, "Master, why is it that whenever I shape a cup, I feel like I'm rushing? But you always seem so calm, like you're having a quiet conversation with the earth." He smiled, his eyes drifting far into the distance. "Because I've stopped running. I don't chase time, I don't chase people, I don't chase what the world calls success. I just sit here, shape the clay, breathe, and live in each moment." Then he turned to her and said, "But you live in a world where people are afraid to pause, afraid of being left behind. Have you ever asked yourself, where are you running to?" That question struck something deep within Lina, like an arrow finding its mark in the quietest part of her heart. From childhood, she had always strived, always set goals, always believed that happiness was something ahead, something waiting. But never, not once, had she truly lived in the present. Everything she did, school, work, even her relationships, had been steps on a ladder that never seemed to end. And the higher she climbed, the emptier she felt. Now, in the stillness of the mountains, without a phone, without pressure, Lina felt for the first time what it meant to be alive. To touch the earth without thinking of unread emails. to chew a simple bowl of rice without glancing at the clock, to breathe, slowly, deeply, as if every breath was a small miracle. She realized meaning doesn't live in constant busyness. Worth isn't measured by how much you can do. Sometimes, all it takes is doing one thing, slowly, mindfully, like sipping tea, shaping a cup, or watching the sun go down, for the heart to feel full and at peace. Lina smiled, not because she had found all the answers, but because she now knew how to begin, to stop, and to listen to herself. On her final morning at the wooden house, Lina woke earlier than usual. A soft mist still lingered on the porch, and the first rays of sunlight slipped delicately through the pine trees like strands of golden thread. She stood there in silence for a long time, breathing in the crisp, pure air as if trying to imprint this sense of peace into her very being. Inside, the old man was stoking the fire, preparing tea just as he did every morning. But today he said nothing. He poured Lina a cup, set it gently on the table, and spoke softly. "It's time for you to return." Lina held the cup in her hands, watching the thin curls of steam rise and vanish into the air. She took a slow sip, fully present. The tea wasn't anything extraordinary, but for the first time, it felt like it reached deep into her. Not because of its flavor, but because of the moment. No phone, no emails, no schedule, just a cup of tea, a quiet morning, and a soul open to the world. Before leaving, she turned to the old man and bowed deeply. "I don't know how to thank you. I came here looking for peace, and I found myself." He simply nodded, eyes kind and steady. Don't spend your life chasing it somewhere far. Peace is always within you, if you're quiet enough to hear it. On the train ride back to the city, Lina no longer felt the same weight she used to carry. She looked out the window and saw fields stretching endlessly, children laughing and running along dusty roads, sunlight filtering gently through rows of trees. Everything seemed slower, more beautiful, or maybe she had changed. She returned to her job, to the busyness of life, but no longer felt swallowed by it. During meetings, she paused to truly savor her coffee. On the walk home, she took off her headphones and listened to the wind weaving through the streets. At night, she wrote a few quiet lines in her notebook, not to track tasks, but to capture what had moved her heart. The ceramic cup she made still sat on her desk. Every time she looked at it, Lina remembered the pine forest, the trembling of her fingers as she worked the clay, and the complete stillness that once filled her soul. It didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to be real. And from that moment on, she lived differently. No more racing. No more reaching for distant things. She learned to live slowly, fully, and with gratitude for each passing moment. Peace, she realized, was never a destination. It was the way we walk the path. Lina's story isn't just a physical journey, from the bustling city to a quiet village nestled among pine trees, but a deeply personal one. From confusion to clarity, from running away to embracing the present, from feeling lost to returning home to herself. She didn't find answers in academic lectures or success theories. Instead, in a quiet moment beside an old man slowly shaping clay, she discovered a simple truth. True happiness isn't something you earn after endless effort. It's something you feel the moment you pause and truly listen. In today's modern world, many of us live like Lina once did, constantly busy, always chasing something just out of reach. A career, recognition, a better title, or even an ideal version of happiness. We forget that sometimes the act of searching can blind us to the small but precious things already around us. A warm meal, a caring glance, a quiet afternoon that asks nothing of us but to simply be. The message of Lina's story isn't about escaping to a faraway village or sipping the perfect cup of tea. It's about the way we choose to live. Living slowly doesn't mean giving up or shirking responsibility. It means choosing to feel more deeply, to ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. It means making space to hear your own voice before the world's noise drowns it out. It means learning to love what is imperfect in life and in yourself. Lina returned to the city with a lighter heart and clearer eyes. And you can too. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, try this. Spend one morning without rushing. Sip your tea slowly. Turn off your phone for an hour. Watch the sky without needing to capture it. When you allow yourself to fully inhabit the present, every moment becomes meaningful. Happiness isn't a destination. Happiness is what you feel when you finally stop running and realize you already have enough. And so, Lina's journey came to a close, not with a grand finale, but with a quiet awakening. She didn't become famous, nor did she achieve anything extraordinary by society's standards, but she found something many spend a lifetime chasing, a deep, lasting peace within. This story reminds us that sometimes, to find ourselves, we don't need to travel far or do anything remarkable. All we really need is to pause, to listen, and to cherish the simple things already around us. A warm cup of tea, a slow afternoon, or even a single, mindful breath can be enough to make us feel alive and complete. So if you ever feel lost in the rush of life, remember this. You don't always reach your destination by running faster. Sometimes, it's in stillness that you finally see the path. Take time to slow down, love a little more. Be grateful for every moment you're given. Thank you for listening to this story. May your own journey be filled with peace, clarity, and gentle joy, one quiet step at a time.